Watching Kyle's unboxing videos again?
Yeah, he always finds the coolest... No way! A robot dog? Gotta ask where he got it.
Or use your Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. Just draw a circle around the dog on your screen, and it shows you where to buy it right in the app.
Whoa, I just learned a new trick. And that for once, I beat Kyle to the next big thing.
Circle it, find it with the new Galaxy S24 Ultra and circle the search with Google. Get yours now at Samsung.com. Internet connection required. Results may vary based on visuals.
Barenaked, 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 ABCs. Welcome to the Barenaked ABCs, where we discuss every single Barenaked Lady song from 7 to Y. And this week, I'm not going to do what the song is telling me to do because it is like negative degree temperatures outside right now, and I am definitely not taking it outside. I'm sorry. We've had enough snowstorms. Like, I've hit enough snow piles with my car this week. No, I'm going to keep it inside this week. But I have joining me from the cold weather climates, Betsy and Heidi. Thank you for joining.
Hi, everybody.
Hey.
And we have a guest this week. I know Betsy and I have been looking forward to having this guest for a while, so I'm very happy to introduce Joe, who is one of the administrators of the Barenaked Ladies Fan Society on Facebook, and a Barenaked Ladies fan extraordinaire.
Hello, thank you. It's good to be here.
We're glad to have you.
Thank you. It's an honor.
So tonight we're going to be talking about the song Take It Outside. If you've never heard this song before, here is a quick snippet.
Any other guy would want to take it outside, but I'd never even try. Who wants to get their lights knocked down? Any other guy would want to stir it up some, but I'd rather say goodbye.
But before we get to talking about the song, Joe, can you tell us a little bit about your journey with Barenaked Ladies, your BNL exposure, like when you first came upon them and what that trip was like?
Sure. I grew up in the 90s and, 28, and growing up, my parents listened to cool music, so they listened to 90s. And so, Barenaked Ladies were included because they were huge, and they had Rock Spectac and Stunt. And so they listened to them in the 90s, and then later on, when I was a teenager, I kind of rediscovered them, bought all their albums, and just listened to them all, and I was instantly obsessed. They just grabbed me in a way a lot of other bands just don't, and I just kind of was instantly in love. I really appreciated how their live shows were a huge part of what they do, and they just grabbed me. So I got into them, and then I got my parents back into them. So now I have all my friends and family like BNL because of me, basically.
So what was your first album that you owned?
Personally, my first was Disc One. Because I figured, greatest hits is the way to start. And I knew so many songs that I had no idea was them. And I was just like, wow, I know like all of these almost, and just took off from there because I heard $5 million on the radio one day, and I just thought it was the funniest thing ever. Got the greatest hits, and I knew all these songs, and it all just kind of fell into place. And here we are.
Now, you specifically asked for tonight's song, so tell me a little bit about like your thought around that.
I just think the song is really gorgeous. First of all, the lyrics are I feel a lot of people relate to, but I love the style it has. Betsy was saying earlier, kind of a country thing, kind of a bluegrass, beautiful guitars, and it's a sound I wish they really visited more. Because I think they pulled it off so well. And I've just always been obsessed with this song, singing it, playing it, and everything about it. I've always wanted to hear it live. I don't think I ever will, but
I don't think you will.
Thanks.
I was
Not to
doing
pass
the
your
research for the song this week, and they've only ever played this song live 16 times. And 10 of those times was the first year that they toured with it after this album was released, so on the Peep Show tour. They have only played this once since Steve left, and that was in 2010.
Wow.
I know. And it's definitely an Ed song. Like I think that Steve had his parts that he added in as always, but Steve has never played this solo, like in any of his shows, according to the internet. And Ed played it twice online during COVID performances. But it's just strange that Ed doesn't come back to this song.
Yes, he did play it acoustically on Ships and Dip 4 in 2011, just him and his guitar.
Yes.
But yeah, no, they don't do it a lot. I don't know if it's maybe hard for him to sing. It is kind of a high song, but you're right. They don't play it a lot.
Well, one of the major issues is that it is all down tuned to half step. So the guitar has to be, it's usually like you have drop D tuning and things like that. But in this case, the strings are all tuned down a half step. So instead of E, A, D, G, B, and E, you have E flat, A flat, G, D flat, G flat, B flat, and E flat. So every string on the guitar is tuned down a half step. And so that the guitar tech would you can't, I mean, you'd have to have that guitar pre-tuned ahead of time and hand it off. And no, it's not as easy as just drop D.
The song was, a fun fact behind the song was it was originally going to be in standard. And in the studio, Ed was having some trouble doing the vocal for it. So they tuned it down.
Oh,
yeah.
But live, they would sometimes do it in standard. Sometimes they wouldn't. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, because on the live album, it's in a different key.
Right.
So it's normally it's supposedly an E flat because that's where the tuning lies. But I think it's the live album, it's an A.
Yeah.
Live album?
Yeah, in
the tour recordings, right?
Yeah, the tour recording.
Oh, okay, yeah, I haven't seen any of the tour recordings. I did see the video of them playing it in studio, which they have it on the CD, on the DVD that came with the deluxe edition of this album.
Which is really good.
A bunch of it's really good listening to it on there. But yeah, I don't.
It's on, it's hold on, I have it right here. It is on Fudge Buckets. Hold on.
That's a new album. I haven't heard that one.
I don't think I've heard that. What, that song?
No, it's on the live East Lansing recording from February 12th of 2004. And in that case, it's in the key of A, and it's little bit longer than the original recording too. So,
right.
So how much did he drop it down for that then?
No, he went from E flat to A. So he would have dropped it down. Well, you can drop it down because if you change the key to A, but it's down the octave, so it fits his register better.
Right. I was going to say, one of the things I had written down is one of the problems I have with this song is those last two notes on the end of every chorus are right there.
Yeah, he's on the verge of being strained.
He doesn't sound bad, but if I try to, that's the two notes that are right between my normal voice and my head voice, and so I can't I can't hit those notes.
I think this is the song too. When he did it in the bathroom session, he kept messing it up, either vocally or just on the guitar. He
did, yeah, in the blooper reel.
Yeah, exactly.
He was playing it and then he shouted the F word.
Dropping the F-bomb.
Yeah.
So I guess it's a challenging, probably song to play. So
It is. I have to play it in a lower tuning if I sing it. It's a high song.
It is, and it's hard. And then, of course, you have Steven's notes, which are the high harmonies behind him, which, I mean, sound beautiful, but I'm sure that Steve has to go into his head voice for those notes.
Yeah.
But he can, because he's doing harmonies at that point. Like, he's just supporting.
Right.
One of the other really cool things that was on the deluxe version of this album was they actually had this little snippet from in the studio when they were talking about this song. And I'm not sure why this happened, but there's video of Ed posing to Jim that they changed the name of this song because the original name of the song was Settle Outside.
Right.
Yep.
And Ed's like, we should just change it because no one says settle outside. We should go and take it outside.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, if Ed wrote this song, Steve kind of co-wrote it but added things in. Why are they going to Jim to change the name?
I don't know.
Jim, come here. We need to change the name of this song that I wrote.
I guess. Maybe is it a Canadian kind of terminology, or is it more like from their era, like this whole settle outside? I don't know if that's. I've never heard that before. Before I started researching this song, I've definitely heard of taking it outside.
Right.
So I don't know if that's a Canadian thing or like I was born in 1970 thing, but.
I'm not that much younger than you, but I'm about the same age as Ed and Steve, and it would have to be more of a Canadian or Toronto thing because I have, like, when I heard that, I'm like, that? What? That's not a phrase. Like,
And
take it outside is kind of a phrase.
Yeah.
No, take it outside. Cash me outside.
Don't do that.
Take me outside is something I heard before. Yeah. No, we're gonna take this outside.
Right. But if you listen to some performances of it though, sometimes Ed would slip and still sing Settle Outside live.
Yes, he would. Matter of fact, when he sang it for the COVID, because he shared that
settle
story.
outside. Oh, right.
And he accidentally said settle outside when he was singing it.
Still does it somehow.
So it must be a saying that he at least grew up hearing or saying.
Maybe, maybe him and his friends or something. You never know. Inside jokes. You know. But he does. When on the rare occasion he'll sing it, he will still do that.
Going back to the music, Heidi, is that a slide guitar in the background, or is that just an electric guitar using a whammy? Like, what is that?
You know what? I'm not exactly sure. Again, I'm coming straight from class.
That's all right.
I
was actually going to pull it up because I wanted to bring up that one of the neat things that they do with it is at the beginning of every chorus, in between the lines, like it goes up, and then like on the third line of the chorus, it does this weird up, down, up with the notes. So I'll play it real quickly here because it's really, really weird that they do that. I'm like, that's a cool little change because they could have just continuously hit the same exact notes every single time. But
I think that's the one that sounds super country. Yeah.
Right.
Any other guy would want to take it outside, but I'd never even try. Who wants to get the lights knocked down? Any other guy would want to stir it up some, but I'd
it is so weird.
It's hard to do.
It's not necessarily a slide guitar, but he might be using a finger slide on the electric guitar. So it's just like a metal tube that you put on your finger, and then you can slide some notes on the guitar. So that could be because it's not a full slide guitar sound, but it does sound like it's not a whammy. I don't think it's a whammy sound, but it definitely could be a finger slide.
Yeah.
I agree.
I don't know, Kevin, or Ed. No, it would be Kevin that was doing it. Would you like to come on the show and let us know?
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing I wanted to point out that I think is kind of neat, and you can hear it more when he plays it for the bathroom sessions than any other time, is this song sounds very eerily similar to Return to Pooh Corner, at least at the very beginning of the song.
Yeah, it does.
I'll play a little bit of it right here.
Return to what?
Return to Pooh Corner by Kenny Loggins.
Yes. Oh, that was Christopher Robin and I went along.
Okay.
I'll play Ed's intro.
It pretty much is.
And
that was on repeat when my daughter was born. I kept it in her bassinet when she was in the hospital for a month in the ICU, and I played this over and over and over and over.
This is Return to Pooh Corner.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, very similar.
I was gonna say it's not exact, but it's pretty close.
Definitely pretty, especially the way Ed's doing it in the bathroom session.
Yeah, Betsy, what were you gonna say? I was mid thought and then interrupted
I was
you.
gonna say it sounds like that intro from I think it's the Black Crowes where she talks to angels. That's what it sounded like to me.
It's very similar to that.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot more to say in terms of the musicality of it because it's pretty much just what they normally would kind of play for their instruments normally. So there's no like extra instruments on this song or anything like that.
No, they do use a lot of it uses a lot of sus chords. Sorry, Jeff. A sus2. We've talked about sus chords before and what they mean theoretically in music theory. But A sus2 to E to A sus2 to E to A sus. So he has a sus2 chord, some sus4 chords. He also replaces the root of the chord, usually like for example, with the A sus2 with a G sharp in the root in the bottom. So it has that descending sound, especially when it gets to where is it? When the last part of each verse, it sounds like he's walking downstairs kind of because he replaces that root of the chord. But lots of sus chords and not your typical 1-4-5-1 progression. He goes like 4-1 to 5-1. So he moves around it, but it's the sus chords that make a difference, I think, in there.
It's fun to play.
Yeah, and it's just a nice song. I've been looking forward to this one because I sing the chorus a lot. Like it's one of those that comes into my head out of the blue a lot of the time.
I know, same.
And I don't know why. Like I just like. It's funny because going from last week's song to Take It Back to Take It Outside. Is like two completely different thoughts, and this one is about backing down and I love that. I always think of like movies where, remember in what was the one with Nick Cage where he gets out of jail and he's on the plane with the convicts. Con Air, yeah. And he should have said, no, I'm not going to fight you on this because my hands are, weapons. But he didn't. He took it outside and ended up going to prison all those years. So if you'd have just taken it outside, you should have,
Yeah.
Well, so that's a discussion I would like to have is this a song of Ed, like, kind of proclaiming pacifism? Or is this a song of Ed derailing his own pacifism? Or deriding, sorry, not derailing, deriding his own pacifism.
I think it's kind of like Ed's, you know how people just, you don't want to stir up the crowd, you know, he's not the guy to make a problem. He's like, you know, I like want people to get along, or I don't want to cause a stir, and I don't want to, you know, have a fight break out or anything. I just want everything to be good. And so, you know, some guys, like, it's like, I always think Steven would have been the guy to pick a fight. Like, he's always kind of got that approach to, you know, his music is like, I'm an asshole and I know I'm an asshole, but guess what? I'm still going to stay an asshole. And I love Steve. Don't get me wrong. Love you, Steve, so freaking much. But he's kind of that counter. Like, it reminds me of what Kevin would probably be like too. Like, Kevin would be like, I just want everybody to be, you know, whereas Tyler would be like, let's go, bro. Let's take it outside. But so I think it's kind of that, like, you know, he's, you know, some people would take this kind of stuff and go one way, but I'm going this way. And, you know, maybe that's just the way I am. And I'd rather just say goodbye and okay, it's over. I'm not going to fight about it. Cause more drama. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I just really like the song.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, for me, I'm a pacifist. So, like, for all of my 20s and 30s, like, what this song meant to me, and the reason I really kind of felt it was that I was like, okay, yeah, this song is saying how I feel about any kind of conflict. But as I'm looking at it more this week and kind of reading it, I'm starting to wonder if he's being totally positive about the fact that he takes it outside, that he avoids conflict. You know, I like you, I would say that my opinion is that Kevin very much is this, like, very peaceful, but I almost see him as, like, he wouldn't just, like, let the conflict go. He would find a way to try to solve it. Versus, like, this song is kind of in some ways saying the exact polar opposite of take it outside, which is, I'm going to avoid conflicts to every extent possible. So, I mean, it starts out with, I watched it all go down with my closed, well, okay, I'm going to throw extra letters in there, but with closed eyes and pretending no one's around. And so he chooses to play the clown. He chooses to kind of make it kind of funny, or to just be quiet and not say anything rather than pick a fight or stand up. But like you said, this is the exact opposite of last week's song, where he's like, we need to stand up more, people.
And there's no backstory either. It's like, it doesn't really explain, like, why he's like this way. Like, if this is truly autobiographical, you know, it could just be that that's his temperament. But, you know, it makes me wonder if there's more behind it. Like, did he grow up, or either if it is autobiographical, like, did he grow up in a household that was just kind of peaceful, or is he kind of taking an opposite stance where it was, like, chaotic in his house and he just doesn't want more of that?
I mean, based off from interviews, because Ed has been a little bit more forthcoming of his childhood after the recent album.
Definitely. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And based off what he's said off the recent album, now that he's done some therapy and he's kind of coming to some conclusions and closure around his dad, I would say that his house wasn't the calmest, quietest place in the world, but maybe this is how he kind of managed to get around that and deal with it.
That's true. I never thought of it like that. Yeah. No, clearly his home life wasn't perfect growing up. I mean, you know, and like Man Mid-Lake, he references his dad drunk driving with him in the backseat and everything, you know, and clearly everything wasn't perfect. I think he had a good relationship with his mom, though. But
Yeah.
no, I think you bring up a good point. Maybe you're right. Maybe there is some connection there for sure.
Yeah.
Let's
Well,
take it
just knowing
outside.
Bare Naked Ladies like I do, there's usually more layers underneath.
Definitely.
Are you saying it's like an onion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a
Many layers.
So it's not that smelly and everything.
So there was a quote by Ed, and I don't have the source. This is horrible of me. I know better as a researcher. I know better than this. But I did gather a lot of this stuff from way back when we were first starting the podcast. So some of the sources have been lost to history, unfortunately, at this point. But I do have a direct quote from Ed from November 13th, 2003, where he said, that song, Stephen and I were trying to get across a message about emotionally, sometimes you have to fight for what you believe in, and that's important. And I've avoided that too much in my life. You're wondering if the message of the song of your song is getting out there. For the first time that we ever played this song, two guys got into a fight in the crowd. I love irony.
Wow. I never heard that.
Wow.
This song is about being nice. No, it's not.
Yeah. That's very funny. It does sound like something that would happen at a BNL show, probably.
Oh, yeah. I would just love, like, while they're playing the song for this to happen, and it's just looking down going, what are you not getting the point?
Went right out over their heads.
Which is funny because he's saying, like, I've avoided fighting for things that I believe in for too long. And maybe you need to fight for what you believe in more often.
Right. So almost not happy that he always backs down.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. That is interesting. That was a point that I was kind of thinking, maybe that in the song from the viewpoint that maybe I should stand up for myself more. And maybe it's not good that I always back down like this. But I would have to ask.
Yeah, we have to get him on the show. Ed,
Yeah.
That you listen. So come on the show.
Too, it you can, again, like we said, many layers. And for me, I'm that type with some things, but not with everything. Like in relationships, sometimes I'm the one that will back down and get quiet because of the way I had a really shitty childhood, and it was better to be quiet and just not, you didn't want to stir anything because there's long stories there I don't want to get into.
Right. I relate to that.
But so I find that I get quieter and I don't like to argue and I don't like to fight. So that's detrimental to me because then I'm kind of overwhelmed by the negative stuff. And it's hard because I know I have a voice, and in my professional life, I would never back down about things. Like I am in control and all of those things, but personal and relationship wise, I have found that I tend to not fight back when I should. And I totally get that side of it too, because it's similar. Any other guy would want to take it outside. Like there are some girls that just live for the drama and will call you on your shit. And like I don't fight. I don't like to fight. So it's not my thing.
Right.
I'd rather just say, okay, no, that's fine. Whatever. I'll, and that's not good either. So Ed and I need a support group.
Somewhere in the middle is the balance, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I think there are very few people in the world that are well balanced though on this.
I think it's always like you're striving for it, but trying to, but
it's hard to know when to pick that fight, when to not to, and how to do it appropriately and kindly.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never been in a fight. I'm a pacifist either. I'm a pacifist myself too. So.
The only time I was ever in a fight, I was in 6th grade, and it wasn't me. It was this bully that followed me home and threw me in a snowbank. And
oh no!
Yeah,
I'm so sorry to hear that.
That's pretty shitty.
It was shitty.
Yeah. Wow.
I was in a lot of fights, but I was never throwing punches, so I don't know if it's a fight if it's one-sided. If I'm just the punching bag, like I don't, or if it's just verbal on my end, I don't know if that's really a fight. So that happened a lot as a kid. I did get in one fight where I threw a punch in like the very end of middle school, like the last 2 weeks of elementary school, middle school. And it was only because this was a guy that was kind of the lackey of the one that always beat me up. Mm-hmm. And I never really respected him because he was the lackey of the other one, always following around. And he threw a punch and hit me. And I'm like, you don't get to do that. I don't know why that made the difference, but all of a sudden it offended me. And I threw another punch back at him. Right? But that was the end of it because then the teacher stepped in.
There you go.
Interestingly enough, I did not get suspended for that.
Good.
No, don't know how that happened, but
You had no priors, so.
The only prior I had was back when I was in kindergarten, and I threw a snowball with a rock in the middle of it.
Oh, buddy.
I didn't know the rock was in there, though. I made a snowball, and I threw it, and it happened. Yeah. And me and that person are good friends now. But but yeah, I sat in the hallway waiting for the principal to come down for a long time, crying and upset.
Oh, no.
That taught me that lesson.
Sure that really counts, yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I'm not one that believes in fighting. I don't think it solves anything the majority of the time.
It doesn't often. Yeah, that's how I've always looked at it.
It doesn't mean that we should avoid conflict altogether, though. And I think that's kind of the point of the song is like there's this middle ground between avoiding conflict because we don't believe in conflict and actually finding a way to solve the conflict that's kind of natural and going on. And I think too many of us avoid the conflict altogether. And I think Ed's kind of deriding himself a little bit for that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can see that for sure, I think. Because, sometimes it's just easier to avoid it altogether. But there are instances, of course, where you do need to stand up for what you believe in. And, but that's something I suck at. So
You're not alone, Joe. You're not alone.
I try.
Yeah.
That's all you can do sometimes.
Well, if it's something stupid like you're wearing the same shirt as me or something, that's obviously not a fight worth fighting, right? But,
God, it's not even worth your time.
No.
I do like the coincidence or the unintended, maybe it was intended, pattern that's going on here of from unfinished to second best, and then right afterwards take it outside. Like, we got a storyline going here.
Again, BNL the musical.
Album, from the 5 piece.
Right.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut anyone off.
Oh, that's okay. That's just doom for you. The over talking is inevitable.
I just think it's great. Like, it's okay that I'm second best. I'm glad that I'm not you. Then the next song is like, I don't like conflict.
Well, it's also, the kind of and then the idea of so much, the masculine idea of, most guys would want to stir some stuff up and get in a bar fight and you're not going to say something about my girlfriend or you're not going to diss my game or whatever it is, and how Ed's like, I'd rather just not, it's totally cool. I got it.
Yeah.
But I love what he says where it's just for show, I'm slamming the door.
Yeah.
So, so there. But
Story of my life.
that's about as hardcore as I'm gonna get.
Yep. Exactly.
But then you have the follow-up line of like, even at the same time, my heart and my head are an open book. You know that I'm really not like I'm doing this like aggressive like show that I'm angry, but I don't really mean anything by it.
I do wonder what fistfight Ed's referencing in Good Life.
Yeah. I mean, I can't wait to get to that. I'm hoping before then we actually get a really good story, because there's a story behind that somewhere.
That's what I'm thinking too. I think there is some story. I don't know what though.
I mean, I have my guesses, and that's all they are. Is at this point just guesses.
Oh, we'll find out one day, maybe.
Yep.
Maybe.
I think Detour is a pretty good album.
It is.
I liked it.
I'm looking forward to talking to it.
Yeah, I liked it more than Fake Nudes.
Yeah,
I agree.
Because I think Fake Nudes, like, I think half of it was awesome, but then half of it was like, not great.
Yeah. They have another album like that too.
Which one?
Yeah.
Silver
Sorry,
Ball.
what'd you say? Huh? Oh yeah. Well, some people say it's Silver Ball.
I like Silver Ball.
I do too. I like every single one, but I like more than Tracy does.
I do like the Tour de Force better than Silver Ball and Fake Nudes, though. I will say that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they're moving upward from Silver Ball, in my opinion.
I really, really loved Grin and Streak a lot.
Yeah.
You guys like Grin and Streak?
I do. I think it's a nice positive turn after All in Good Time.
Very angry record All in Good Time was.
Yeah.
It's good though. I like it, but it is an angry record.
Yeah.
On Grin and Streak, you can tell they're just kind of having fun.
Right.
Yeah, you listen to Steve's first album, you listen to Ed's first album, you can definitely see which one is still going through the grieving process at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so too, definitely. I think Steve talked about it a little bit less on page 1.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of said all he had to say in the first song, and then he's like, and I'm done. Next.
Yeah. Definitely.
I love
both albums though.
Yeah. They were strong albums coming off from a breakup.
Definitely.
I wanna speaking of Steve, I absolutely love the harmonies that are on and off throughout this song.
Yeah.
To me, this is my favorite part of the song.
Gorgeous vocals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite parts about it is the vocals. They're so good.
So I have one more note that I haven't written down. Other people have other notes, and I guess I can finish with this last one after.
No, the only thing I had written down in addition was that other than the country feel, that it felt kind of like low energy, like a little bit defeated, which is kind of reflective of the lyrics. So maybe he's kind of, beating himself up, or maybe kind of questioning his approach on taking it outside. So like you were saying earlier, that maybe this is something he's kind of like not completely sure that he should have as his kind of defense mechanism. But that's all I had.
And a really odd way to finish this album, which is a very confrontational album throughout this thing. Like if you look at some of the songs on here, the songs are pretty confrontational. You got Shopping, Testing 1, 2, 3, Upside Down, War on Drugs, like these, and Aluminum. Like these are all very much like in a almost angry way, like looking at looking through the looking glass of like this other side and shining it back on people and saying, is this really the person you want to be? And like I said, just before this, we have Second Best. Then we finished the album with like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't fight about this.
Right.
What?
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
You just spent the whole album telling me I'm a bad person.
Doesn't it end with the "Have you seen my love"?
It does. So I try to pretend
really
that
easy it out, like like almost peaceful.
it does. Which this song's pretty peaceful too. So it's just this odd direction to take at the end of this album, which has been, I would say, one of the more controversial albums at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with War on Drugs, which we haven't covered yet.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's my favorite. It's my favorite record of the 5-piece era. I really, really, really love Everything to Everyone, and I always have. It after disc 1, it was the first studio album I owned, so it was really has a special place in my heart. And I love just about every song on it. I can take or leave Have You Seen My Love, but I like all the rest.
I agree with you on that one.
Really?
I do.
I know it seems people either love it or hate it, but
for me, it wasn't an album song. For me, it was a B-side. Like I would have loved it as a B-side. I don't like it as an album song.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, it probably could have worked better as a B-side, honestly. Yeah.
I wish they had finished this album with Yes, Yes, Yes.
That's a good song.
Which I think would have been hilarious right after Take It Outside. And
yeah, that's a good song.
We have it.
Switch in energy too. It's like,
oh yeah,
so hyper almost.
Well, and I like it's partially written by Kevin, which is really interesting that we have this really we'll get to what Yes, Yes, Yes is about, but this really attacking song like Yes, Yes, Yes.
Doesn't seem like Kevin.
Right.
I know. I won't talk about that later. I think I know what part Kevin was responsible for.
Kevin, come on the show and explain yourself.
Yes, please. Kevin, please. I would ask him about Yes, Yes, Yes for quite a while. I love that song, and I'm excited to talk about it. But we won't get to that song for another year, so.
Oh, my.
We haven't talked about the rhyme scheme of this song. And I think it's interesting to talk about it because it switches up. So it's the rhyme scheme for the verses is a rhyme of the same. It's an A rhyme at the end of every single line. And then verse 2 is a B rhyme. But I don't know why they did this, but it's definitely intentional. The beginning of verse 1, the beginning word of every line also rhymes.
Oh, I watch it all go down. Closed eyes, pretend no one's around. So I chose to play the clown or blow by and never make a sound.
And I'm not, and they make a.
I never thought of that.
They go out of their way to make a really odd choice for words to do so. Like you would never I'm sure that in music theory they would tell you, don't start a song with O. Like it's too passive of a thing, but it makes sense with the song. But you have OI and then closed eyes and so I and blow by.
Oh, yeah.
So it's actually
I never really thought of that. Wow, you're right. Huh.
It's actually a double rhyme at the beginning of every line. Like those first two sounds are rhymed.
Right, that's true.
But then they don't do it for verse 2.
Right.
I don't know why.
I know.
Maybe Ed was just tired of it.
Yeah, yeah, maybe.
He wrote "turn around" and he's like, turn. No, I'm not doing that anymore.
No.
So you run the second verse, so there's still the effort there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of just a different song for them in general, I feel. And it's a standout, I think.
I agree. And it has a different feel than the only other song that's like that on this album is For You, which is a very different message.
Yes.
And I would say even somewhat it's a different feel on that one. This, as you were saying, Betsy, this is more of a sad song. Like you have a sad feel to it versus For You, I would say it's almost a defensive type song. Like
it doesn't sound as gloomy.
Right. There's a defensiveness, there's an energy behind it, but there's also, I get this feeling of a wall being put up during that song that I don't get with this song.
Right. Yeah, this song, I think Take It Outside has a gloominess to it.
Definitely.
For sure. And I love that vibe.
Yep. Kind of a self-reflective, defeated, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
Yep.
I like it. It's just interesting to put it at the end of the album. I would have thought it would be more toward the middle of the album, but I'm sure there's a reason that they thought about doing that, because they did do a lot of introspection about what they were going to do in terms of the order of this album. So
I've heard too that sometimes it's not up to them. Sometimes it's up to the management or
label.
Whoever. So
this one was all up to them, though.
This one was okay.
Yeah.
Everything to Everyone. They were still with Warner.
They were.
Sire.
But on that DVD, on the extras, you actually see them having a discussion. There's a video of them having a discussion at a table, outside table at like a restaurant, where they're sitting down there. They have votes. They actually do votes of what songs are going to be on and which ones are going to be off. But then they also start talking about which songs they want to go first, because and second and so forth, because Tyler wanted Second Best to go first. He wanted to start up, or Shopping. No, he wanted Second Best to go first. He wanted Shopping to finish the album off, I think. So yeah, they had a big discussion about like what the order of this would be.
Kind of like a high energy, kind of like banger, kind of like I can see that.
A lot of people hate Shopping. I love it.
I know.
I love that song.
I only like it because I actually saw it live in person, and they had the shopping carts and the ramps, and they really.
Oh, you're so lucky.
Yeah,
I've seen videos. Yeah, I wish I was around.
I was kind of up in the nosebleeds, but.
Still, that's pretty cool. I have seen videos of that. Yeah. I just think it's a good take on consumerism, the song as a whole.
Yeah, once you start to really listen to it, it does.
It's making a message.
Yeah, it does deliver a message.
Yeah.
All right, so we've kind of been all over the map here and discussed this song. So why don't we put some ratings to this? I'm gonna say, why don't we rate this based on how many fist fights do we give this song? Oh wait, no. How many slam doors do we give this song?
Okay.
Because that's more apropos of the song. So how many slam doors are we going to give this song? I'm going to hand it over to you, Betsy, to kind of be able to start the rating, because Joe, you may not know, but we rate every single song from 0 to 5. 5 is one of our favorite songs of all time. We would listen to it ad nauseum if we could. 0 is we wish that the song never existed, that is just horrible, it makes our ears bleed. So yeah. I'll let you go first, Betsy.
Okay, so I'm sorry ahead of time, Joe. it's Not my favorite song. It's not a 5 for me. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just because it's the feeling of it, or like, or maybe I kind of see myself in here a little bit too, with being kind of more of a pacifist and kind of questioning that. I mean, I like the cleverness of it. It's a good song. It's not a song that I really have on my playlist, but you know, I don't skip it either. I don't know. I guess I kind of wanted like a twist in here or something, or maybe a little more backstory, but I do like the song, so I guess ultimately I'd give it a 3.5.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
Okay.
3.5. Okay. And oh, there we go. We get a Heidi back. So I will have Heidi go next.
I've always really liked this song. It's melancholy, but I don't know, there's something about Ed in this song that I really like. Perhaps it's because he's what's the word? Starts with an I.
Introspective?
No, it's when you're opened up to a thing, like you're just like your underbelly is showing. You're very
intimate.
No,
vulnerable.
I know the word I'm looking for and I can't find it. My brain. I'm a really smart person, I swear. No, it's when it's when you could easily be attacked. You're very
vulnerable, or
well, I guess yeah, we'll go with vulnerable. That's exactly what I'm thinking. He's very vulnerable in this song. And so I'm giving this, it's not quite a 5 for me, but it's up there. And I'm going to give this a 4.8.
4.8. Okay.
Yeah, I really like it.
Nice.
4.8. All right. I don't do this often, but I'm still trying to figure out my score. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Joe, and ask you, what do you give this song?
No one's going to be surprised. I give it a 5. And, it's a song that it just instantly grabbed me the first time I heard that album. It's probably my favorite song on the album. I really love the production on it. I love all the guitars. I think that Ed delivers a very powerful lead vocal on it. Steve, obviously, always awesome harmonies. And yeah, it just has a, like you said, melancholy, kind of gloomy nature that I like. It's a nice chill song if you just want to relax. And yeah, I give it a 5. It's a song I really never get sick of.
Okay. I mean, that's a reason to give it a 5 right there. Okay, I think I've settled on my score. Okay. This is a hard one for me. I like this song. Because I can't hit those 2 notes without going into my head voice, and just it doesn't sound quite the way I want it to. Like,
can you clarify what head voice is?
Huh?
Is that like people?
Yeah. Yeah, it's when you go from singing like down here in your chest, your throat and chest
to up here.
You can feel
not
it
quite
almost...
falsetto. With males, you think of it.
Evanescence.
Males, you think of it as falsetto more than head voice. With women, you definitely get into a head voice. As an alto, sometimes I shift into a head voice if I've got mezzo soprano parts. So it's up here, kind of, instead of from your chest.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And these are the 2 notes where that's where I'm like, I have to switch over, or it's not going to sound right, and it still doesn't sound right, and it bugs me. And I hate singing this song for that reason, because I'm like, I hate switching between them, because it's so if I'm on a good day, I can really hold it, but then it doesn't sound quite right, and I think that just annoys the crap out of me, because I can't extend my voice to get there. So it has nothing to do with the song so much as my own misgivings and difficulties. I do, like, if it comes on, I'm not going to skip it. I just don't seek it out very often. So kind of going with my other ratings and thinking about that, I think that simplified my rating a little bit. I'm going to give it a 3.9.
Okay. Pretty good ratings.
So overall, I mean, it still came out in the 4s area, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
So this year we're not doing
we're mostly not going to be doing any appearances, but I do have a website that I want to send people to because I am going to recommend that people go out and watch a slideshow that was put together for this song this week by friend of the show, Victor Sherb. Unfortunately, Victor passed on 2 years ago, but this is one of those songs that he was able to put together a slideshow of before he died. So I do, rest in peace, Victor. And I do recommend people go out and look at this wonderful slideshow that he did to go along with this song. And the other thing is let's celebrate a little Barenaked history here this week. So this week in Barenaked history, that's another, so this is the week that Andy left the band. A lot of depressing words this week, but yeah, this is the week that Andy left the band after the end of the tour in order to pursue his music education degree at McGill University in Montreal. Good for you, Andy, but we really do miss you being part of BNL. And also, here's a little bit of an up note. On February 20th in 2010, BNL performed at Nathan's Phillips Square in Toronto as part of Vancouver 2010 Olympic celebration. Yes, that Olympic Square where they were banned 20 years earlier and actually started help building their popularity. They came back and kind of as a big how do you do to the mayor, the ex-mayor, where they played in the Nathan Phillips Square.
Wow.
Wow.
Cool.
Full circle.
Very cool.
Right. Yeah, that is wicked cool. Yeah.
Joe, thanks for joining us tonight.
Hey, no problem. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Joe, do you have any things that you would like to plug?
I mean, not really. I follow if you like if you're on Facebook and you like BNL, I run the Barenaked Ladies Fan Society. All fans are welcome. Aside from that, not really. I post music on my Facebook. If you want to add me, I'm Joe Ledoux. That's really it.
Well, thank you, Joe. It was great to have you.
Thank you so much. It was great to be on.
All right. And I didn't announce what next week's song is going to be. It's almost like my brain wasn't thinking of it. It's like a wasteland up there, almost like a teenage wasteland.
There it is.
Yeah. So come back. Wait, did you just say you hate that song?
I like that song.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, wait. I think that's the first time I've heard that word come out of your mouth, Joe.
No. I like that one. Very few I hate.
Well, thank you for joining us, and thanks. That was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now check your link.
I did.
Thanks, that was fun. Don't forget, no regrets.